10, 9, ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Alien Pro Podcast. It's Saturday, October 29th, 2022. I'm Doug, joined again today by Dr. Bill.
Hello.
Bill, what again
Hello.
is happening in Florida? What's going on in Florida, Bill? How's the weather?
Nothing. Oh, it's overcast and cool. It's nice.
Yeah, it's freezing here. It's like, 45 degrees.
I don't know.
It's a winter, and it's not raining in California.
This is winter. Yeah, you don't get the rain in California really doesn't start until like January, February. That's when the rains really
We may
come
not
in.
have any water left if it waits that long. It's been really bad. So we're talking about the cosmic hoax to start with today. Dr. Greer is the host, correct? Or he's the one?
Yeah,
That's his name?
Stephen Greer.
Have you been following Dr. Greer on any other thing, or is this his?
I have a
his
little
thing?
bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're sliding out of the picture.
Yeah, it was just I had this thing that I heard. So I have this other thing where he on May 9th, this is from the old what was this? I don't even know where this was. This was from the New Yorker magazine. And it's an article that says how the Pentagon started taking UFOs seriously. And the article starts out on May 9th, 2001, Stephen M. Greer took the lectern at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. in pursuit of the truth about unidentified flying objects. So that's where I first heard about him. And they were streaming that. And I think I
watched that, I think.
I
You
saw
sent
it.
to
I
me.
might have seen it at a
Yeah.
later date. This is 2001 that happened.
Oh, I didn't
But-
see it live, but I saw a recording
I've seen-
of
I think I've
Yeah.
seen recordings of it too, some of it, with a bunch of very sad-looking men sitting in their suits, sitting at this table, looking. I don't know. They just look like they're.
Was that
but-
Carol Rosin in that? Was she the one that she's Von Braun's
Von Braun.
confidant or whatever
know.
she was?
I don't know.
She had that wild hair. She's in the anyways. So
She's
the
in the-
Cosmic Hoax is on for everybody. Cosmic Hoax with Stephen Greer's on Tubi. That's where I found it. I don't know where you.
Uh-oh.
I believe that's where we ended up finding it. So talks a lot about how there's a couple different situations in there. Are UFOs real? Are they piloted by us? It's kind of a conspiracy thing, and he again.
It is, and I'm getting really sneezy. Sorry.
It's okay.
It says ET false flag to actuate a war. And also to keep sort of this like 0-point energy stuff secret. And they use the term black hole of disinformation. And he says, what did they say? The black hole of the disinformation, where people are saying that the ETs are demons, which ties into Skinwalker Ranch, which sort of weird. And they're interdimensional. Talks about alien abductions as one of the things as part of the black hole of disinformation. Don't have man-made UFOs, and ET is a threat. And he says Elizondo is a big part of that disinformation.
We kind of touched on that with when we talk about Elizondo as it went along. I mean, we really were kind of high on him in the beginning. And then as time went along, it kind of felt like he was a plant almost. And then he kind of is fading. Now he's involved with, I think he's with Graves, the pilot. I think he's in that same organization where they're figuring out what they say they're figuring out. But this could be I hate to be I always end up sounding like conspiracy theorist on these. But they could be, this could be a disinformation, but it's a gigantic thing where we're starting, now the latest thing, what is it? The final card is that we're going
Oh,
to fake
vo-
a alien. I hate to jump to the end.
yeah, that's
I don't know
like
if that's the end,
the
but
alien.
we're going to make a fake war with extraterrestrials, and
The f-
so that they end. I guess it's because we're running out of war things on Earth. I guess I don't know.
this
War is money. War, you make money in war.
war
I mean,
is
let's
money.
face it.
It's a big
I
profit.
mean,
It's a big profit funnel for the friends. If you're in the friends and family program, which we aren't,
right.
the
Well,
well, actually, I was looking at this, and they talk about the false flag, activate war type thing. When this movie was made, which is in 21 or released in 1921, was before Ukraine. And now, since we pulled out of Afghanistan, we now have our military industrial complex now has the Ukraine to channel all this billions of dollars into the friends and family program.
yeah,
And
but we're not supporting that. It's important to note.
the
We're not.
the U.S. is supporting it. Yes, we are. Oh, you mean we're the U.S. You mean we're not
Not the
supporting?
Ukraine. No, we're not supporting the Ukraine.
The
Come
U.S. is
on, we're not.
supporting the Ukraine. If you're a
Russia would
Putin,
get upset if we did that, and then they'd launch a nuclear weapon.
you're no, we are supporting Ukraine. That's why we've
Well, we're
sent
sending money, but we're not
50
giving them any equipment, right?
we're sending them another $300 million worth of military equipment, and the Pentagon has asked for. They want to know where it goes this time.
Except for overseas, in the
Yeah,
Ukrainian president's overseas account. That's where it's
yeah,
going.
yeah.
If it's money, we'll give you. It's kind of like your kids. Look, I'll buy you dinner, but I'm not going to give you any cash. They really need to. They really need to like keep
You
it
do that.
simple, keep it a
You
little
do that with your
simpler.
kid. You don't give your kids cash.
Unfortunately, yeah, they get whatever. So
I can,
anyway,
I can remember when my kid was younger, and he's always been really independent. And I'd go, "Do you need any money?" He goes, "Oh, I got my own money." Go, please let me give you some money. Do you need some money? He goes, "No, I got my own money." Like when you go on like a school trip or something. So I was like, "All right,
certain of my kids care, and I got three of them, and
yeah,
then certain ones don't. Just depends on who you ask.
yeah, it's true with any family."
And so, but they're not. It's always a voluntary thing. They never ask for money. So,
Yeah, he doesn't.
but this thing
That's
is really, I mean, it's like a weird, they're saying that some of the UFOs, Dr. Greer is saying that some of the UFOs are actually piloted by extraterrestrials, and some of the UFOs are piloted by us, meaning the US, I guess. I don't know. I guess they could be overseas also, but
so.
we can make, we have the technology to fly just like they do. And when I think about, and they had one, did you see the one that looked like a Tic Tac? They called it the bath. Well, they had a name for it. It's not the bathtub. It had some
Bath,
weird, like
bathyscaphe.
a steam pipe or something like that. It looked like a giant Tic Tac. It's kind of amazing that they had that, and he says it flew, and he had diagrams. I mean, people should watch this because he had an actual diagrams of the internals of this thing. And then I'm thinking, is the Tic Tac, the things that are flying around, and why don't we shoot them? Isn't well, we can't, right? Don't have technology to hit them, but um, you know, this thing's flying around down. At least they see them every now. They're saying they're seeing them everywhere. So why don't
They're
we?
they're seeing Tic Tacs everywhere.
Well, they're seeing Tic Tacs everywhere. They're seeing UFOs. The Navy pilots are saying that they're pretty much all over the place. I mean, they see them
Well,
constantly.
there was that. We'll talk about that New York Times article that just came out, which is walking back some of the Navy stuff. I got a cough.
So,
Um,
But they're saying some are piloted by us, some are piloted by. What's the article say? I mean, we can jump.
Well, we'll
We
jump in
can
that.
jump to that
Let's
real
keep
quick
working on the. We'll work into that, but let's keep going. So,
because go ahead.
Greer says that he's actually briefed Trump and Putin, and that there's a secret society separate from the government, and that Truman set up this. President Truman set up a secret society, and he says it's worldwide. People who and from war and saw fear to keep the war machine running. All major corporations are fascist organizations. ETs are concerned about the nukes. That's a common thread. And then
Yeah, and we're trying to. We can't. I mean,
Hmm.
we always are concerned about space-based missiles and things, but we don't really need to do that. They can be launched from anywhere. We know that, and you can't touch them because they're hypersonic.
we don't have them.
So
We don't have them yet. We're working on them.
we're working on it. There's this new article out about they're testing one this week, I think. Hopefully, it won't land in a residential area. That would be bad.
Did that happen?
Could
So
happen.
he ties in. So you have Chris Mellon, but he ties in. Greer comes back, and so he says that Elizondo is part of this disinformation campaign, and I think he says that
I believe that.
Chris Mellon is part of the disinformation campaign, and that Andrew Mellon helped finance Hitler, which it's hard to say because he probably helped finance the German war machine, but I don't know any details about that.
Well, they need money too, and I think we probably did.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
there was
mean,
there
it's
was a
all
lot of that. A lot of
they
that was
don't
going
care.
on.
It's all, and well, that ties into what they're talking about today. That it's completely, it's this mega sub government. I mean, it's almost like a sub government. It can't be touched.
Separate.
It's got its own. I don't even want to say budget. It's got its own money. Probably doesn't have a budget. It's got its own money.
Separate but equal government.
Yeah, but nobody can touch it. It's untouchable. The president can't even touch it. So who's running this thing? I mean, I get it, but
I
it's
don't
like
know.
somebody's, is it just run by itself? It can't.
Yes, somebody.
It's
Well,
Melon.
it's hard to say what Mellon is running it. They're also talking about the. They're talking about the media controlling minds, beliefs, and attitudes, which is something that I think has become more obvious in this day and age with the internet.
Yeah.
Says, and he talked about Paolo, that woman that did was involved with that Trinity book, which is getting a lot of press now by Valley about the Trinity crash.
Yeah.
He interviewed. She was in there.
Well, the picture they posted, yeah, she talked about that. The girl, what was her name?
Paolo. I don't.
Carol Rosin talked about it, wasn't it? No, the other woman talked about it that was on there. She said, but they showed a picture of that with the alien that crashed, but they showed a picture of, I don't know if they were talking about the same thing, but while they were talking about it, it was the side of it was open, but it had landing gear and it wasn't like crashed.
I don't know,
like the picture that showed when you sent me the article. They said that's what it looked like. Well, they said it looked like was a crashed UFO with the side open and this crying aliens.
Yeah, it's whatever the artist is, put
and
together.
They said, and then they interviewed the two Native American kids that are now old.
Remy Baca looked like a great guy.
And they said that he could feel, and this is not something that was in the article that we read. He could feel what they felt and had like their mind. He could feel the despair and the pain in his mind that they felt, which was, I found compelling, because we've heard of those types of things before.
When you watch Moment of Contact next week, you'll have the girls that came across this creature.
This is the thing where it was running through town and all that.
Yeah,
it was like running around the town.
When you watch that next week, the girls had, I think, sort of a similar experience when they encountered this creature. They had a deep feeling, I think, of empathy for it and what it was going through. And these kids did too. because I mean, to them they looked like children. They were running around and keening and crying, which sounds really very human after a crash.
Yeah.
Uh,
Confused and that
Confused
kind
and
of thing.
stuff. But I was really impressed with Remy Baca. He just seemed like a
He
great
was one
guy.
of the Native American
Yeah, one of
kids.
the kids grown up. He seemed like he seemed like the type of guy you'd like to have as a neighbor.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he was interesting.
and then they talking
He's
about
genuine. They're
it's
genuine,
very genuine, yeah. And apparently, oh, and then they came into we're talking about the von Braun and interplanetary war, and the von Braun was talking about the final
The
card,
the final card that he was talking to Carol Rosen about.
and this woman was like his assistant.
Yeah.
Okay,
And on his deathbed, he talked about the final
the
card.
final card.
And what is the final? Again, it's going to be, is it the fake nuclear, no, not nuclear, the fake war with the extraterrestrials so we can
I,
keep the war machine going? Is
that's
that
that's what they were talking about. Yeah, that it was the
all of
keep.
this is something we make up just to keep the machine going? And it's kind of,
Well,
unfortunately, or
we're
fortunately, it makes a little sense.
well, yeah. That I was thinking about this. I go, yeah, unfortunately, it did make sense. I'm looking at this, and then it's like, okay, and then we have this Ukraine war, which um, is just crazy. Did you see the not to get too far off topic, but 50 Democratic representatives wrote a letter to Biden asking that they negotiate peace in the Ukraine?
No, I didn't see that.
It they it
How are they?
they
How are we going to go? I
Well,
mean,
he's asking the Biden administration to encourage Ukraine to negotiate a ceasefire or a
oh, with
peace.
the Russians?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they pulled it. They released it, and then they pulled it 24 hours later.
Well, that fits right into the story that we don't
Yeah,
want to end.
yeah,
We want this to keep going as long as
yeah.
possible.
And that's what. Yeah, and then all these representatives got hammered for signing. 50 representatives got hammered for signing this letter. And then 24 hours later, they're all walking it back, going, "Oh, I didn't really mean to sign it. We don't know. I don't know what I
Yeah.
signed. I was drunk when I signed it."
It's
That,
frightening.
yeah, yeah.
It's frightening. I mean, not really frightening, but I mean, it's like it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a
It's the
world.
friends.
This is just the world we live in.
It's the Friends and Family program, and we're
Yeah.
not part of that. Now, if they made us part of the Friends and Family program, it would be a different situation.
As is with life, yes.
Yeah. So,
Well, it's
uh,
okay because I'm making money on it.
oh,
You know,
yeah. I
people,
mean,
when you get money, when you throw it, you can, people will argue at this point. And please don't send me any letters.
it's any letter.
But yeah, when money comes on board, it's like you forget about all your moral
Well, when
thoughts,
your
beliefs.
paycheck is dependent on your beliefs, on
Yeah.
having the right attitude and beliefs, you will change your attitude and beliefs to keep
Well, this is a
paychecks.
perfect example of how the government works. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, they're not in it to help anybody in another country or their constituents. I remember when this war first started, people were going, Americans were, I
Oh,
don't even know what happened. Those guys are probably dead now, but they were going over to help
two
the Ukrainians,
two
special
British
forces people and
two British guys went over
civilians.
there and got captured, and I think they were just executed recently because being a mercenary is you're not
Oh, did they
protected.
execute? See, I didn't hear that. I was wondering what happened to them.
They were
I figured.
tried and sentenced to death, and then it just sort of the news disappeared, and then I saw something that was saying that they had been executed.
Shouldn't have got caught.
Well, I mean,
Civilians have no, if you're not trained, you really don't need to
it's not a matter
be
of being
there.
trained. It's like, why are you, if you go and fight as a mercenary in another country, you're not considered part of that country, and if you get captured, you're like a pirate. They'll just hang you from the yardarm.
I'm just saying that you shouldn't be attempting something like that if you have no training. You're just in there with like a hillbilly with a musket.
Well, these two guys actually had military training and went over there and volunteered. but you have no protection. You're essentially a
Yeah, I don't know
pirate.
what
Yeah.
support do you have. You're just running around killing people randomly.
Well, they're part of a Ukrainian military unit, but they have no legal protection. The other people that if Ukrainian soldiers who are Ukrainian citizens were captured with them, they're just treated as prisoner of war. If you're not Ukrainian and you're fighting as a mercenary in Ukraine, you're like a pirate. They're just going to hang you from the yardarm.
No, they threw you in a grave. Did you see it? They're throwing them in mass graves. They don't
Yeah, I don't know what's
take them
going
as
on.
prisoner of war.
The
They're not taking them prisoner. They don't have the resources for that. They have to kill them.
the
So,
Russians are doing that to the
yeah,
Ukrainians. That's why they have
that's
so
what I
many.
saw it on TV, so I know it's
Oh, it's
true.
true.
I
Yes,
saw
it's
it.
true. It is true.
I saw the grave. I saw the mass
Yes.
graves. It has to be
I
true.
believe it. I believe this. This is terrible. The
Yeah.
Russians are monsters. I don't understand why we're just
Yeah.
not nuking them right now. We need
Because
to
the
nuke them.
because the extraterrestrials are not allowing the launch, and Putin's aware of this too. The extraterrestrials are not allowing the launch of nuclear weapons.
The AETs.
You know,
Well,
you know.
according to Greer in this documentary, ETs don't want nukes in space.
Yeah. So maybe the
Um,
ground's okay. You know,
they
we
s-
just
they
don't want
s-
to put them up there.
they stopped some sort of nuking something in the 1980s.
If you think about it, though, they operate on, we think, a gravitational field or something, and magnetic fields. Would a nuclear blast disrupt, if they're flying around and a nuclear blast happened, would it make the UFO crash? We don't know, but I'm just thinking.
The shock wave might have an
Well,
impact.
the shock wave would, but also it's electromagnetic field. I mean, what is it? It
Suppose there's a pulse, but that'll fry the
the EMP.
electromagnetic pulse will fry all your microchips. They're just
Yeah.
gone. So this is something that they would talk about in some of the survivalist stuff. So the pulse wipes out all the microchips. That just fries them. They're gone. So if you have a vehicle that was made before a certain year that doesn't have microchips on it, you can still drive it. But anything that has microchips on it is going to be unusable.
That's why you're keeping your older cars.
Well, my cars would be fried. My cars have computers in them. My old truck would still be drivable, and we have
That Toyota,
yeah,
the one you had 200,000 miles on it
yeah,
or something. You put 200 on it?
yeah,
And you put 200?
two something in the 1980s. It was 1986 truck. That one would survive. It might have had some chip, but nothing that would really stop it from working.
Well, you bought yours the same time I bought my Dodge. That 86. My black Dodge was 86 too.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, older 60s cars, 1960s vehicles, 70s vehicles, those will run after EMP pulse won't damage those. But newer stuff is dead. Nothing. They're just garbage.
Well, being in my town, they got a lot of classic cars in this town, so
You find something.
maybe that's a reason why the people are buying those. Secretly, they know that's the only thing that's going to be able to run.
Well, they're going to be banned in a few years anyway.
You can't buy new ones. You can still drive. They're never going to ban classic cars.
That's the
There'd be
next
an
step.
uproar.
Yeah.
There'd be an uproar of 70 and 80-year-old men who go to coffee shops and show these things on Sundays.
Yeah, and who's who's gonna what sort of people are these? They're like older white guys.
Yeah.
No one's gonna give a shit.
Yes.
So and Greer was saying it was cosmic blood libel that ET wants to eat us and impregnate our women.
Well, there's the
abductions
are fake. I mean, he's saying that the abductions were a fear thing that they staged those.
He's saying all this stuff is part of the black hole of disinformation. And I guess
they're setting it up for a fake extraterrestrial war. Is that what I'm getting at?
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
That's why we're doing space, whatever we're calling it, Spaceballs. We're calling it the Space Force.
Spaceballs, Space Force.
Space Force. And I mean, that's more technology than it is actual putting things up there that I've seen.
Well, he was also saying that Elizondo is famous disinformation operative, controlled release of information. And Elizondo was responsible for the release of those two videos that are in the New York Times this week on the Go Fast and the gimbal video.
Yeah.
Let's see, disclosure.
What's the disclosure on? Yeah, you have to talk about it now.
Well,
What does
the
the New York Times say that
the
is the garbage or whatever?
the report, yeah, the title is "Many Military UFO Reports." Many are just foreign spying or airborne trash. So we've known that a lot of the surveillance that was happening to especially ships off of San Diego were Chinese drones coming from Chinese ships.
We know that.
It's been
I didn't know
people there's articles written where people were doing an analysis and stuff and looking at the drone pattern, the flying patterns, and then the local ships in the area for these things. And in I think one of the cases, the ship was paralleled by a Chinese freighter that was going into the port, and so the people were saying that it looked like the Chinese freighter was releasing drones to surveil the U.S. warships.
We should have shot them, all of them.
I
The phalanx, you know.
I don't know why they can't do that. I mean, it doesn't. It makes I don't know what's going on.
It baffles the mind. I know when
Yeah.
I listened to the Graves and Joe Rogan interviewed this week, and Graves even said, he goes, it baffles the mind that the commander didn't authorize open fire on those things.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, because they're a threat to a U.S. military ship, and you're just going to sit there and take pictures. That guy should be fired.
I'm not sure what's going on. It was like the admiral coming in and looking at. I can't remember what the video was. He came in and looked at a video and then just shaking his head and walk out. And they're going, "Oh, he knows what's going on." He's like, "No, he's a political operative."
Yeah.
And is just looking at it and saying, "I'm not going to touch this and screw up my career." Now, the Go Fast, this article in the New York Times is the Pentagon has analyzed the Go Fast and the gimbal video, and it's paralleled what people have seen like on the internet. And the analysis of the Go Fast says that the Go Fast is small and it's moving at 30 miles an hour. And they're going, but it looks like it's going really fast. Yeah. And it's just because the jet is moving, the object is close to the water, and it's an illusion. So
they made all that up.
What the analysis shows that I saw an analysis by this person on the internet, and the Pentagon has just confirmed it, that the object at the Go Fast is moving at 30 miles an hour, which is the guy that did this analysis on the internet he said it was moving at a slow rate of speed. The speed is an illusion, and it looks like a bird. So the Go Fast video is probably a bird. And then the gimbal video, they're all excited because it looks like a UFO and it rotates. You go, look at that rotation. And the analysis, people have shown that on the internet, and the Pentagon is saying the same thing. The analysis of the gimbal video, the reason it rotates is because of camera flare, basically. The camera is rotating, so the image rotates.
It look like it is, yeah.
Now, they haven't identified either one of these objects. And there's a report coming out, I don't know, next week or something, that it'll be classified, so we may not hear anything out of it. But they're saying, yeah, these videos. All right, this is my take on it. These videos, which were copied by Elizondo, and were given to Chris Mellon, who then released these videos. The Go Fast video is just a bird, and the gimbal video is probably a engine flare from some sort of airplane or jet, and then it rotates and looks interesting because the camera is rotating on the targeting module. So I mean, it's just like, come on.
Well, it fits right in with the Greer thing. It's like,
he's talking about
making this up so we're getting set up for war with extraterrestrials that exist but aren't really. They're malevolent. They don't really. They just want to keep us from blowing ourselves up, is what the assumption is.
Well, I mean, Greer.
If they're out there.
Greer also apparently seems to have some sort of chip on his shoulder, because he's like, the guys that there was those guys that were interviewing him that we saw where he talked about this video, which led us to looking at this movie or documentary. He talks about the Disclosure Project. He goes, "There's a 600-page disclosure report." He goes, "Just read it." And he's like, talking to these guys, and they're like, these guys were physicists, and he's like, it's like, or 300 page. It's like the Roswell things. Why is everything 300 pages?
Yeah.
So he says there's a ton of evidence in the Disclosure Project, which I believe, because I've seen a ton of evidence, and we especially when you look at the stuff from the 50s. I mean, it's just, there's piles of evidence from the 50s and the 60s.
Well, what's the disclosure? That's Greer's thing, right?
Yeah.
The Disclosure Project. So does he believe or does he not believe there's extraterrestrials?
He does believe there's extraterrestrials. He believes, I think, that we're in contact with them, and they're being, I can't.
I know they discussed it all. The nice ones are the tall blonde ones that are really, and then the mean ones are the ones that look like they're the grays. And then, it's obvious that he believes. I shouldn't even have said that, because obvious that he believes him, because he's got this app that you can buy for $10 to help you communicate with extraterrestrials.
Yeah, if you meditate, they will come.
CE5.
Yeah. Mellon, I think, does believe. I'm not sure exactly where he's coming from. I think he is. All right. So what he is saying is the U.S. has captured and replicated some of this technology and is flying ships. And then there's the aliens in the ships. And that I guess the aliens are not in direct communication with the governments or whatever. And everything about that we're being told and stuff about this is misinformation. So we can, have a false flag war against the space aliens to keep the military industrial project rolling. Well, we don't need that, because we have the Ukraine. We will always have Ukraine.
Yes, but let's jump off right in the very beginning of the cosmic hoax. What did you think about that autopsy video, or not video, this picture from 1920?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that before.
I've seen it before too.
Yeah, it's a burned body. It's not a space alien. It's just a badly burned body.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell.
Pretty big.
Yeah, it looked pretty big. So it was human size. It wasn't space alien size. And just looking at the rib cage and the sternum, it's either somebody has. It's just a badly burned body that might have actually been in water. I mean, it's not a space alien. It's just
a lot of people working on it, and then some guys in suits. So it's interesting why everybody took such an interest in this thing.
I don't know. He didn't provide any other information about the context other than that the picture was old and it.
The picture was legit. What it was,
it was a real picture, but they could have laid it out. If the picture, you could find the context of the people, the place, and the time, and they didn't. And I vaguely remember seeing something about this picture before, and it has been, I think it's been documented. So Greer does what a lot of people do, is they do a lot of hand wavium with this stuff, because they're pushing a message.
Yeah.
And that to me, just looking at the body on the table, it looked like a prominent, some sort of prominent event had happened, and this is what they did at that time. You get everybody together, and you have a picture for the newspaper for the banner headline or whatever, because it looks like a newspaper type photo for horrible whatever, or I don't know. But yeah, so that was okay, but I didn't find the picture believable, especially because you could look at the rib cage. And the way it was, the sternum and the rib cage looked very human, and the proportions, it was a fairly damaged body that had been treated It's either been soaking in water, been burned, and then in water, and who knows.
Did you see the picture I posted on Facebook of
No, I haven't seen it.
the 18? It was from like the 1800s, and it was a bunch of hunters all lined up, and behind them there's a pterodactyl. It
Oh,
looks
I've
so
seen
real.
that. Yeah,
I had to put it up. It looks so real.
yeah. That's an old. That was on the internet years ago. I've seen that. Yeah,
But is it fake? It's obviously
yeah.
fake
It's
because
not real.
pterodactyls weren't.
I love the.
It
I
looked
love
really
the.
good though.
I love
I
the
had to
story.
post it anyway.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. God, I probably saw that 10 years
But it
ago
was
or
cool because
more.
it was so detailed. They had the little ropes and everything around his little
Yeah,
feet, and they
yeah,
had the thing all tied out. And
yeah.
I said, man, it'd be really nice if this was, but I'm sure it would have caused a lot of brouhaha if anybody really thought it was.
Yeah, that was a story that was going around. That was on the internet. God, a decade ago. It used to be. I guess the internet's slowing down. It used to be this stuff would like rotate through every 6 months or so, or 8 months. Now I guess it's on a 10-year cycle because the internet's been around long enough. But
They
yeah,
got TikTok and everything else now.
yeah, I've seen that.
Instagram.
So he's also
Facebook seems to be dying.
Facebook. Oh, it's just so
Yeah,
sad. The stock is down 75%. That's
yeah,
that's um $700 million. It was a $1 trillion company last
yeah.
year.
Luckily, I didn't make the mistake of investing in them like I did with that sundial pot stock.
Yeah, well they've lost their direction, and I don't know what's going on with this Meta thing.
Yeah, Meta's that's who I pay when I boost posts. That's their
Well, that's the company name. They
platform.
changed
That's
the
their Meta. Facebook is
yeah.
Meta.
They just changed it to that, but it's Meta now. But we used to be Facebook, and now they just call themselves Meta. It's the same deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
like. I still like it, but it's kind of now I like canine dogs, so I look at a lot of canine
dog pictures on
dog
Facebook.
stuff. But the
Oh,
problem with the canine dog
dog,
thing
dog
is that
pictures.
a lot of dog death. I mean, they get shot, they get stabbed.
Oh, you like the
They
you like the police dogs.
Yeah, the police
Yeah,
canines, and
the
then
canines. Yeah.
they carry them, and they show the video. They got pictures of them, and they've put them down, and they're dead in their bed with all their stuff. I just want to cry every time I see
Oh,
it.
hate that.
And
Yeah.
then they got the other one where the guy's carrying his dead dog between all the police, and it's not bad, but it just makes me sad because it's got all the line of cops in town, and he's carrying his dead dog
Yeah, it's just horrible.
down. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like there's a lot of uplifting stuff, and I sent you guys pictures of stuff, the dog attacking and things and stuff, but it's like they don't live long enough. They're just like my dog. They're not going to go live long enough to but to provide a good. I don't want to get up on a dog tangent. Anyway, so yeah, they're very sad, but I blow by the dead ones now. I go, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. It's sad, but I can't look at that
I'm not.
anymore.
I'm not a Facebook person. The interface
Yeah,
is terrible, which is on purpose because they want to keep you on the site. So they have a
yeah,
terrible interface design, and it just bugs me when you go in there and you gotta struggle to do stuff, which is on purpose. So it's like
yeah.
don't
It's not
don't.
very intuitive.
Well,
Yeah,
it's to keep you
yeah,
there. You make it less intuitive, so it keeps you on the
yeah.
site, keeps you so you can watch the ads.
Agitated.
Well, it doesn't work with, I mean, they're probably losing 20% of the people that go in there because it's like you're going to spend a few minutes and go, this sucks.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I go in, I'll look at stuff like people will post and I'll get the mails on it, but you go in there and it's like you it's the interface
yeah,
is terrible and it's just like it's on purpose. So it's like fix the interface, your business will get
yeah.
better. But they don't think that way. It's like Microsoft. We must, you know, you know, Microsoft.
I
They've
put
got
our
these weird business attitudes.
Yeah, I post our YouTube version on every week, and I post
Mm-hmm.
it on both my personal and then the APP Pro
Yeah.
Facebook, and then there's the other one with MUFON. I put it on our local MUFON site, and the admin has to approve them, and they put them on. Great, so I appreciate it. And then there's the other one there's a girl that runs that crazy UFO alien um, website that, and she allows it in. So we get some good hits from those. But we're still involved, and then I boost the posts. It costs, like $25. You can, and people will like it, and then they'll look at it, and then you'll get some exposure. But it's dying, you know.
Facebook,
I feel like it's dying.
and and they've done it to themselves. It's like fix the interface. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just bad. It's just bad. It's like I don't need to. I don't have the patience to. I mean, I do all this other stuff, and it's like I don't want to go in there and struggle to figure out how to work the interface to look at a dog picture. Just get me to my where I want to go. Let me deal with whatever, and then I will spend more time on the site if I can navigate the site easily. I don't have to fight it. So this Greer movie, the UFO hoax, he was saying that melon is the first family of intelligence. So I mean that runs into something that I've been thinking about. It's like you had this feeling. So you had ASAP, you had Bigelow, you had the Skinwalker Ranch thing, and you had all these people sort of pushing this agenda. And now you have this several things that have been happening. One, Skinwalker Ranch pretty much looks like not much is happening there, even no matter how much they're trying to push it. Sherman was, from what I've been seeing, Sherman, the guy that owned the ranch before Bigelow bought it, he's like the only witness to all this weird phenomena. And he was saying that in the Skinwalker book, things were exaggerated, what he had seen. So you have that sort of, and then we watched the Skinwalker Ranch show, and they're not providing any clear-cut evidence of anything. Or they are trying to say they are, but it's just nonsense because they're not following clear. They don't follow anything up. They, you have a rocket explode. You go, oh, the rocket explodes, so it must be the space aliens. No. And now
it's garbage. Let's just go.
Yeah, it's not believable. And we're still going to watch the show. We're still going to look at it.
So we can talk about it, talk badly about it.
But it's like,
it's fine.
And you have
it needs to go away. It can't go the way of, I mean, we talk about this every week. It's going the way of Oak Island. I mean, Oak Island's lasted years and years, but it was more believable than this. It's just, this is not believable. And they're like you said, the science, they don't do well.
They're not doing good follow-up
with their experiments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Travis Taylor, who has the qualifications. Well, he doesn't have any control over the editing and stuff.
No, I like Travis, and you got to read what you wrote about Travis at some point.
Yeah.
A big narrative. I like Travis. I think Travis is he's a figurehead for the show.
Well, we'll see.
Or one of them, one of the figureheads for the show. I mean, I don't know it's where it's going to go with him. I think it's ruining. Honestly, I think to me it just ruins his reputation.
Well,
as a scientist.
He is working for a new company now. He's retired from what he was doing before. And I don't know if I sent you that link, but he's working for a new company, which is some defense contractor. And him and another guy have been hired to do reverse engineering. So they're part of their new, they're part of a reverse engineering team. I sent you the video. It was by
are they going to be able to figure that out? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like a good gig. I liked it. So I think he is a very competent, capable scientist, engineer, and we'll see how it goes with the new season. But it's an entertainment, and they're not proving anything. They keep saying, "Oh, we saw this," and it's just like, come on, you need to present clearly solid something.
If you're watching it from a pure entertainment standpoint, I think it makes sense. But if you're like us and we're kind of looking for them to really give us something like a Dino Beaver, I want to see the Dino Beaver. And I want to see see the giant. I want to see the giant wolf that's bulletproof.
Yeah,
And
Sherman said that was greatly exaggerated, that whole incident.
they
Um,
greatly exaggerate UFOs and dead cows and cows that are sick and I mean, the whole thing is. I
well, and
can't
there,
believe people watch this and actually believe this. It's
yeah,
not
I can't.
people.
If you,
It's not believable. There's nothing there. Every week is going to show, unless they got a big killer thing that they're going to. There's a UFO inside the mesa,
yeah,
where they
yeah,
drilled into it and it hit something solid like a
we can't
rock, and
dig,
then
we
moved.
can't
You know,
dig. Well,
um,
but they said we can't dig. So, come on, yeah, you can
yeah,
dig,
and
you
it's
can dig.
it's it is entertainment though. Okay, I'll give everybody that. If you're watching it for entertainment, fine. If you think that they're going to find something, you're to dry well, so to speak.
Yeah, it's not. They're not. They're not.
They're
They're
not
not.
going to find anything. It was sold to Bigelow with we told the whole thing last week, so I
Yeah,
don't need to
yeah.
read.
And Bigelow bought it for a song, and he resold it to Fugel for a lot of money. I've seen that. I seen that number, and it's like Bigelow made out when he sold it.
But he
Uh,
didn't give Bigelow any. Bigelow didn't give him. He had reams of material.
Bigelow didn't have squat.
He
I can
didn't
tell you
have
that right
anything
now.
of.
He didn't have
There's nothing
anything.
of substance.
And
I mean,
that,
yeah, he had a lot of paper probably, but
well, that
nothing.
was an image. You don't know if that was real documentation. That was just like a stock image
Binders,
of binders.
bunch of
Yeah,
binders full of paper.
yeah, that was just a
Yeah,
stock image to sort of emphasize the point. But Bigelow didn't have anything to give him. That's why he didn't give him anything, because there's nothing
yeah.
there.
So
And that
Fugal
was,
used it as an entertainment. We can talk about Fugal next because he did a little
well,
Facebook
let
thing.
me look what we got. So this David Greer video movie documentary on the cosmic hoax. He says Mellon is a first family of intelligence. Oh, of conversation with Mellon, no, ET is not a threat. The big thing they're pushing was that ET is a threat, and Greer is saying that they're going to use this for a false flag to feed the military-industrial complex. But we have the Ukraine now to do that, so ET is not the issue. Greer was saying that we need to establish diplomatic relationships with the ET. Last card with Werner von Braun.
Maybe they don't want to communicate with us. They just want to make sure we don't blow ourselves to bits
I don't think
or
they care.
destroy their environment or whatever they're trying to do.
That's
Right?
anthropomorphizing of the space aliens to think that
Wow.
think that they care about nuclear war or anything. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they care? We blow ourselves up, they can move in and take over. Just it makes it easier for them to.
There must be a reason, you know.
Last
I'm
card.
assuming.
Exoagnosticism. Deception indications, warnings, very sensitive. DIW. It talks about Corso. Oh, what's interesting is that woman that wrote the Paolo, she, I think, wrote the book with Corso, who was the guy that wrote the book about moving alien technology into development.
Yeah.
Apparently, they were saying that the book published in Italian was different than the book published in English, and that the book published in English had to have things edited out of it before they could get it published. So the Italian language version has more information.
Oh, wow.
It says 3 major lies in the media. This is according to Greer. We do not know what UFOs are. He says we do. The U.S. does not have super high UFO level aircraft. He says we do. And number 3, the government says they are a threat. He says they are not a threat. What else? Phony studied agnosticism. Nick Pope. Chris Mellon, we don't know. Nick Pope, we don't know. DeLong, and he talks about the DeLong thing and Blink 185.
182.
Who cares? He says it's quasi-psyop. John Werner the Fourth. Navy has the info on the UFO craft, who, what, and where. Space. What else we got? 3-disc alien flux vehicles. Oh yeah, he spends a lot of time talking about, and well, that'll come in with the Fugal stuff where they talk about the anti-gravity things.
Well, the flux vehicle is the one they call it the flux vehicle. It's the one we allegedly made, and we've made our own flying saucer.
Okay.
You know,
he
they
says
call it the flux net for it.
He says that Keene was like an embedded agent in the Disclosure Project and then ran off and wrote her book. Took all their good ideas. And then he gets into that. Then the movie became a commercial, basically, for his app.
Yeah, because he's selling his communicate with extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
The CE communicate with ET5. You can buy it for $9. It's an app. CE5. Buy it for $9.99. And I want my commission off that, Dr. Greer.
And if you meditate, you will see aliens. So,
is that what it is? You can meditate and see them.
Yeah,
is that thing? You know how you're falling asleep and you're just not quite asleep in your dream. You're in that world.
Yeah, I have the whole thing about alien abduction stuff is everybody that's been many people who've been alien abducted or like they're asleep in bed when it happens, and I like to see that. Bothers me. Yeah, that bothers me. If it involves bed and sleep, let's take a closer look.
Eddie and Barney Hill, though.
That is a compelling case, and there are many cases like that. Yeah. But the whole bed and waking up and having the aliens hang out. I mean, that happened with the Gulf Breeze guy, as he had a similar sort of experience, but then he also had a whole other spectrum of things that happened.
Well, you remember during the Betty and Barney Hill era is where we were doing MK Ultra and mind control and other things. So who knows if the government, if this is true, the government was trying to make something, seem sinister. And maybe they were just kidnapped,
giving
people this information,
giving people
with
acid
LSD. So LSD, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, but
I just remember an air traffic controller that I met that had done a lot of acid when he was younger. He did not fill me with confidence.
Great.
Yeah, it was at a church. It was at a church function. And it's like, you're an air traffic controller? Yeah, I was younger. He didn't show any unusual behavior I'm sure he's retired at this point, so it's all
Student
good.
of the 70s.
Student of something. But yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So Fugal.
Space aliens.
Fugal, we had the number. Now, I'm a little confused. Is that number 3 on the basement office? Is that basement office?
I don't know. It's like number 4.
It didn't have a number, but was it 3 or 4?
This has been going on for years when he gets together with Nick Pope and he talks about this stuff. But they had a couple of them. I think this is number 3. One of them would be where they were coming back and addressing the first Skinwalker book. And then the second one was addressing the Skinwalkers in the Pentagon book. And this one, he's coming in and he's talking with Fugal. What's his first name? Brandon Fugal.
Brandon Fugal. And then he's got some, I didn't know he was Collier's. He is the Collier's commercial real estate dude.
In that area.
In Provo, Utah.
Yeah.
But he's a big deal. I mean, but he drinks, diet Mountain Dew and some other concoction every day.
Which has
in his black Lamborghini or whatever that thing is.
Yes, black Lamborghini. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty, and he's like the descendant. Fugal is a big Mormon, and this is a Mormon thing. Descendant.
They're all with this Skinwalker Ranch. Everyone involved with it. I think Bigelow and Reed and all these people. They're all Mormon. That's a very common. Yeah, I think it's like a common facet to all this Skinwalker stuff. They're all Mormon.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you even Lukansky is Mormon, and
Well,
Travis
Mormon story.
Taylor and everybody. I think they're all Mormon involved in this whole Skinwalker thing. And
Mormon
ASAP.
story is interesting because they were ostracized for their beliefs
Oh, it's a
of how
great,
they got started. It's kind of a tie-in. I don't know. It's
yeah.
interesting.
Joseph Smith, his whole his origin is amazing. He was seeing these things, and they essentially it was essentially a crucifixion. The
Yeah,
people got so upset they came in and they broke him out. I think he was in jail. They for his own protection. They came in and they killed him. The
yeah.
and then the Mormons had been building a town in southern Illinois, and they packed up and they did their carts and their covered wagons and they headed west. The Mormons every year, when you grow up, if you're active in the church, not every year, but there's what you do is they have a thing where the kids and parents that want to participate and stuff, they have carts and stuff, and you do a journey where I don't know how long, camping and with the carts and the
Yeah.
wagons, and they'll do like a journey in Utah to sort of simulate that trek. It's for a learning experience for the kids. It sounds awesome.
Well, then Brigham Young took over, right? In
Brigham
the
Young
latter
took
years.
over from the church, and he's the one who was the basically founded this city and
In the middle of the desert, basically. It's amazing.
basically
It's an amazing
to
story.
get away from persecution. They went as far west as was reasonable and started their own city. One of the things that was interesting when Utah became a state, they had to declare they banned polygamy because polygamy was part of the religion, part of the church, and in order to get statehood, they had to agree to ban polygamy. Just a little extra history there.
I did not know that, but now
Yeah.
it's okay, right?
Polygamy in the church,
Yeah.
no, still not. There are sects of Mormons that still practice polygamy, and I would say it's still part of a doctrine of the church, but it's not. They're not allowed to legally. They're not allowed to practice it, and the church actually clamps down on it and will punish people for it.
Did you ever watch Sister Wives?
No,
Have you seen it? I mean, have you seen
No.
the ad or anything?
no.
Yeah, it's
I've
a guy that has like 4. I think it's 4. My ex used to make me watch it, and it was like he had this
little
cult.
wish fulfillment there.
Yeah, I brought it up, but anyway,
But
so
it didn't work out.
one is enough. I'm sorry. One's plenty for me. I can't imagine why anybody would want to go through this, but he had like I think it was 4, and in the later episodes, it's still going on, I think.
Okay.
And the later episodes, he bought this cold. I don't know where this guy gets his money, but anyway, he bought this
He's got a
cul-de-sac. and he
TV
bought
show. He's probably the
each one of
executive.
them. It was a brand new, development, and he bought each one of them a house on this cul-de-sac. So they were all living together, and he would live with one and then the other, and there was all this drama about what, and then they'd have kids, and then it'd be his kid. Oh, they were all his kids, and he was very nice. I mean, it was always very nice. There was no like of this, there was drama, but it wasn't that crazy drama, like, screaming and throwing knives and things. It was
sounds
Sounds
complicated.
But it was weird. But yeah, the ex really liked it, and I was kind of like, I don't. It's painful to watch to me.
It just sounds very complicated.
Yeah, and it's complicated, and it's a lot of work, to balance this town of women that you have. So I never.
Yeah, that sounds like a town. All right, let's. We're coming up on an hour. Let's. I think we've did a.
Have we beat it to death?
We did a so-so job with the hoax video. It's on
It's
Tubi.
all we can do.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. It's worth watching. I would watch it. I recommend it. The Cosmic Hoax with Stephen Greer. It's easy.
All right.
It's easy to find. And then we'll pick up with Frugal next week and watch that First Contact documentary about the Brazilian Roswell. It's awesome. Let's talk about that next week.
Cool.
That's so yeah. Let's And then we'll talk about some other things. There's always something to talk about.
There's always something. Thanks for
Always.
listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check us out on our website at alienprobe.net, Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod. Like and subscribe at YouTube. Punch in Alien Probe Podcast. You'll bring it right to the top. Thanks to our senior producer, the traveling Saigon person, Robert Anthony.
You need help with his
and
name.
of course, Dr. Bill.
Okay. All right. We'll see you. Hey, watch the
Watch the
skies.
skies.
All right.